Good afternoon, all. On behalf of IoT Academy, we welcome you all for the fourth session of National Level Faculty Development Program on workshop on NIRF, National Institutional Ranking Framework. Let me introduce the resource person of today's session, Dr. Monica Kulshrestha. Dr. Monica is currently the Director, Institute of Innovation in Technology and Management. Dr. Monica is PhD in Human Resource Management with 20 years of teaching experience. She is the author of the book Discovering the Bliss Within. She has various national and international publications to her credit. Dr. Monica is a dynamic motivational speaker and coach who has brought positive change among teachers, students, and trainees. She is an excellent orator, and her lectures and life skills is much appreciated. She has been taking sessions on positive attitude, goal setting, stress-free life, and making yourself valuable. She is also a panelist at the Lok Sabha channel on gender discourse. We welcome you, ma'am, and with this, we hand over the session to Dr. Monica. Ma'am, please.
Good afternoon to all of you, and I hope you liked the yesterday's session. And we had two questions, and I think for one of the questions that I had, I think I sent the message to ma'am. She might have forwarded you to you, sir. It was guidelines of 2080 guidelines, which says about going in for the government. It is an Indian Express news that I have shared it with you. So there you can read the details. Today, I'm going to talk about the fourth criteria. This is again not a very big criteria, but yes, and it is very difficult criteria to get number on this because we have our own drawbacks, and not only drawbacks, I can say we have our own certain limitations as far as this criteria is concerned. So this criteria, if I can have a next slide, ma'am. Before I go to this criteria, there is a concept which I would like to talk on, and why this concept has been made a part of the NIRF ranking. The diversity, inclusion, and equity. The concept of diversity, as it's the need of diversity aroused much when the globalization happened and people from the different part of the world started working together. When people started working together, the cultural issues started creeping in, and they became a very important part of the corporate life. So earlier, when the people were from the same area, this problem was not there. And therefore, if one or two people were there in the company, maybe they felt they were second citizens. And this diversity was not particularly by force, it was maintained. If I talk of the concept diversity here, the concept Q, you can take, Q is the quantity that you can take, the number of females that are there, the number of people from the backward class, or number of people from the other state, or people from the other country. All this became a part of the diversity. Now the various schools and colleges, now they are saying to encourage this diversity at the school and the college level, so that the children knows how to get along with these people, and they know how to adjust there, so that once they will join the organization, this kind of a problem is not there. The weightage that is given to this criteria is not much, but it is not that you cannot ignore this weightage fully, that if you do not get marks in this, so you cannot just do that. But again, as I said, we have our own limitations here. When I'll go on dealing with the criteria in detail, I'll be discussing more. But I just wanted to give you the brief, what do we actually mean by diversity, and why there is a need for to have such a lot of a diversity, because at the workplace, again, this diversity is there. Like if you remember, some of you will be of my age group, generally we didn't had the much of the co-ed schools when we were at the school level. And once we were not in the co-ed school, when we came and started working, or maybe when we came to the university, at the first few months, we found it really difficult for us to speak and talk and to be friends with the boys in the university, because we were not brought up like that. But children today who study in co-ed, they do not find it difficult to get along at the workplace. They find it easy. And similarly, when the people coming from the different part of the world, or maybe if you feel that they are coming from the different cultural background, the children do not find it difficult to get along. And it is very easy for the children, if you have an experience of some of the people who are studying the North Indians and they go and down south and they settle there. The adults find it difficult to adjust, but children, they don't find it difficult because in the school they get along well. So this is the main purpose why this has been included as a major criteria of diversity. The other point is the inclusion. That yes, you have taken, but you have not accepted them per se. For example, if you said you are taking the people who are physically challenged, but you do not have a ramp, you do not have a lift facilities for them. There are various colleges, there are various cinema halls, there are various places in the bus even. If you take our bus is not the wheelchair friendly. You go to airport, they do use the wheelchairs. But I was traveling and there was a lady who was brought in by a wheelchair, but in the bus they were carrying, in that the wheelchair got struck at one of the point, and then four people have to just lift her up and then again take out that wheel. So that means we are accepting, but we are not including them because we are not giving this kind of a facility to them. So here, if you have the diversity, so if you are taking the physically handicapped, or you are taking a females and you are not having a female washrooms, so this may means you are not including them to be part of you. So inclusion was another thing that was taken into consideration. And last but not the least, the equity. There is a difference in equality and equity. I'll give you an example and a way to explain it better. That if four people are there sitting on a dining table, one is very tall and the other person is a little shorter, and then there is a small child. If you give a chair to them all of a equal height, the person who's very tall, for him he doesn't require an additional cushion on the chair, but the person who's a little smaller may be needing one, but the child who's sitting there might be requiring three cushions. But just because in the equality, what do? We give, just everybody is equal, so you give equal number of cushions to each one of them. So person who's very tall doesn't require a cushion. The person who's little short requires one cushion, but the child sitting there needs three cushions. So equity is the concept that says that you need to be here, just because to bring people at an equal parameter, what are the additional? So maybe a child who's coming from a background and doesn't know the basic language, or maybe from a state is coming and a medium of which the child was taught is not the medium in which you are teaching. Maybe English you are teaching. The child is not well versed. So here the child needs two cushions. So here we need a bridge course for them. We need certain things for them so that they come equal to these. And therefore, this criteria of outreach and this is being included. So we'll have to have a diversity. If not, then forcibly the government is saying there are certain weightages, there are certain things given. And try, if you see that you do not have the more female staff, or you do not have the more female students, and if you are in a position to select, then try to maintain this diversity, because that is going to give a better culture at your colleges and university level. And another, as I said, when you have then the inclusion, the various things needs to be given it to them. If you have a certain blind student, then you need to have a support for these, maybe if a faculty is there, or if a child is there. And equity, as I said, to bring people equal, they need to have a different kind of a treatment, and the things should be given so that they all become equal. Is the concept clear? Shall I move ahead, or if you have any questions here? Ma'am, in that case, if you can change this slide. Outreach and inclusivity. Here, the weightage that is given is 0.10, and the percentage of a student from other state, country, and the regional diversity. So 30 marks for that, and then percentage of a woman, both as a student and as a teacher. So 30 for that. Economically and socially challenged student, 20 marks for that. And facilities, as I said, the inclusivity, if you want, then you need to give these facilities to the people, and you need to be, the equity needs to be there so that people become equal. So going to the next slide. This is the formula that they have. So regional diversity and women, and then the especially the challenged and the kind of a physically challenged, the facilities that we are providing. So 30 plus 30 plus 20 plus 20. But let's go one by one. What do we actually mean by the diversity here? Yes, ma'am, if the next slide, please. The percentage of the student from the other state, countries here. Here we take the fraction of the students. So 25 into the fraction of the total enrolled from the other states plus 5 into the fraction of the total. Ma'am, if I can go to the next slide, I have the example there. Here. Now, if there is, how do we calculate that out of 10 students, you have one student outside state for the institution A, suppose, and for outside country, you have 100, 1 out of 100 students. Now here, then we'll put this formula again. So the first, they will get the point as 2.55, but in the second institution that has 1 out of 100 student or 1 out of 200 student, then the points will go down to 0.275. But this criteria, getting marks, is very difficult. Why? Because there are certain universities and colleges have their own. Like I am teaching in an IP University college. Our admission process says that 85% of the seat of the IP University is reserved for the Delhi students only, and 15% is for outside Delhi. Now, this 15% is for overall university. Once they come to our college, and if I need to fill that data, then in that case, we might be getting one student from the other, or maybe one in the defense category, one from the JNK, one or two from the SC/ST or the minority community. At times a year, we do not get in. So here, and we do not have, like in the IP University colleges, we do not have the outside. Generally, the university setup might get this overall, but the college level, it is very difficult to get. Then for the but again, if you see, how can we maintain this? If you have a leverage at the time of the selection, where you can, so if you are a university autonomous college where you can, then in that case, to maintain the diversity, we can go for. But then those colleges which we are affiliated, or where we are run by the whatever the admission is given by JE, or by given it by certain other central body, in that case, this is not enough. I think there is a question, if I can take this. Okay, no. All right. May I go to the next slide? Now, the another is the diversity of the woman. It is the 30 marks again for this. So 15 into the number of percentage of women student, and then again to the number of person in the faculty. The expectations is, if you have a 50% of the woman candidate. But then again, as I said, if you see to the data, what they say, the number of females in the higher education, again, it is not that they are not even 50%. So expecting this is too much. And then the courses like law and where yes, medicine you can get. Engineering, again, now for past 2 3 years the number of females have increased, but otherwise again, in our kind of a country where we are most of uh, the career of the children are still decided by the parents. So here it is little difficult to have a 50%, but if you are able to, if you have the choice that where you can go for, as the IIM's COSI code give a little weightage to the female students. So if you can, then it is, we can get marks for that. And another is, ma'am, if I can have the next slide. It says again that the 50%, if you have 50% of the woman student in the percentage we need to calculate, then here you need to calculate for all. Suppose the course that is run for 3 years. So the total number of a female that you have, suppose in 3 years you have 1000 student. So total all the 3 student, and then as we give the data in NAC also, that how many females that you have. So if you have 50% and 20% if you have female, then we put this formula, you will get 30 marks. And if you have, suppose the female students is less, but you have more than required 25%, because we have more, like in the IP University College, we have more of the female teachers here. So this way we can, and it's not by that they are deliberately doing, it is that the female teachers are here more, especially in the management colleges. So here you can get marks and to up to 24.75. But then again, as I said, if you have the option to go for, if we do not have the option and the students are given to us by the university or by some central body through some counseling where we do not. Recently, we had DU again going for CUCET, the comprehensive test for the Delhi University again. So St. Stephen's again said, no, we will go for interviews as well. So where you are taking interview and where you have little choice, there you can go in for little diversity. And suppose if you have 20 out of 100, 18 teachers are female, then when you're going to recruit them, and but I think as there are certain colleges from the remote areas, so there finding certain is many times it's a little difficult. So that constraint, yes, we have. So here in getting marks in these two is little difficult. And again, I would like to say that here you need to, in NIRF, you will, if you go to the website and see, they're given you a format. In that format, you have to upload the entire data of the faculty as well as of the students. So you have to give the name of the faculty members and the list of the faculty members. So here we cannot fudge the data, because they go to your website as well, where we display the teachers, where we display the faculty, and there. So here when they do this thing, they do cross-check the data from there. So it is important that you give the authentic data as far as this is concerned. May I have the next slide? Again, is the economically and socially challenged student. Here the percentage is being provided for reimbursement. Now, again, if you give them the free tuition fee, for example, in IP University, what they do, they take the share of this. We do not have the power to do it at ourselves. The Delhi government we have morning and the evening shift. So evening shifts, 25% of the fee that we collect, we give it to the Delhi government. And that Delhi government then takes a call and they give the, maybe one student from our college might get or might not get, but we give our share to them. but total fee reimbursement of the tuition fees and this, if you are doing it, you will get marks, and if you are not doing it, you will not get marks. So this is, here there is no formula that the formula they have given about the number of students. For example, two you have, and how much you are giving, then you will get marks. So they will give you marks if you are giving. But then again, you need to provide the format they have given. You need to provide the entire data, the name of the student, which year you did, and how much reimbursement you have given, so that this can be cross-checked again. So for economically and socially challenged student, if maybe for this SC/ST or OBC category children, or other states have their own regional way in which, so maybe a child might not be from SC/ST category, but he belongs to an EWS section. So in the EWS section, what is your policy? And have you, if you have policy, like what are the various private medical colleges do, medical hospitals, they say that we have 10% of the seat reserved, and when people go there, they'll say it is already there, we have a patient, and they do not disclose the name of the patient. But here you need to disclose it, and then only you get marks. May I have the next slide? Last but not the least, here there are facilities for the physically challenged student. And in the physically student, what kind of a facility that you're giving? This is 20 marks. So most of the colleges, they say, we do not have any physically challenged child. So I do not have a ramp, or maybe the lift is in position where the wheelchair cannot go up to that level. You have a wheelchair, but then you have a lift, but you need to climb up 10 stairs, and you do not have a ramp so that you can take the wheelchair. But you say, we proudly say that we do not have any physically challenged student. So if one is there, then what will you do? So what kind of a facility? Ma'am, may I have the next slide, please? This is if you have the elevator for the physically challenged, you need to write yes, and you have to give the data. Then ramp is there. Special washrooms needs to be, and a washroom with the proper mark that it is there, and where the wheelchair can rotate. So that is there. Then there is a place, there is a rod or some support for them to use. And I think this doesn't cost much for the colleges to for there's not any input is there, so this can be easily be done, and the marks can be availed in this. With the wheelchair, so generally if you have the medical room, keeping one wheelchair will not be costing much to the colleges. So so if you have this, then you will get the 20 marks for this. So here, if I say the only way where we can get marks, the private colleges, is the 20 marks if you provide these facilities. Then rest of the thing, that the kind of a student we get or reimbursement that we are doing, that is not much in the hand of the principal or the director of the college. This is all that I have for you for this criteria. As I told ma'am that I wanted to take this in one day only, but anyhow, if you have any questions, if you things that you want to ask, you can.
The session is open for discussion now. You can unmute and
I
interact with
can
the
write the
question.
question. I've opened my chat box, so if you have anything to ask in these criteria, or you can write and ask, or you can ask question.
You can post your questions in the chat box also. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you all.
I think we have no questions, ma'am. Ma'am, do I have a question?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
All
We'll
right,
be
all right.
posting. We'll be
Thank you
posting.
so much. Thanks a lot.
Dear participants, if you have any questions, just post it in the chat box. On behalf of IoT Academy, we thank Dr. Monica for the informative, enlightening, and enriching session. We thank you once again for the amazing presentation, ma'am, and we thank you for enhancing our knowledge with a commendable presentation. We thank you very much for your efforts, ma'am. I thank all the participants for joining the session today. Kindly submit the feedback form using the link that has been posted in the chat box. Thank you all. Have a great day.